Hey guys, the YouTube algorithm blessed me today when I stumbled upon a record I actually really liked by the one person project Disenchantra. After doing a little bit of research, I discovered that it was put together by someone known as Matron Thorn, who had previously been in the band Evangelist. I guess that band is still going technically, but I had shared the stage with Evangelist many years ago and didn't think much of it at the time. It was definitely a style over substance type of band, uh, decent for what it was, decent live performance, but nothing that was gonna have resonance for me. This, however, I was really, really impressed with. This is, I don't really know how to describe it, but if you wanted something like Igor, the three R's Igor, but not kitschy at all, something that's kind of uh, has that genre blending style where you're kind of taking ethereal vocals here and there and putting them across a backdrop of discordant music, but done without it being tongue in cheek. You would have this band. While listening to this, which was about an hour long, I kind of felt like it was a shoegazy My Bloody Valentine type of take on sludgy, maybe blackened death metal. Well, not really death metal. It has the spirit of real metal, but all of the melodic aspects of it borrow more from uh, shoegaze, like I mentioned, in terms of it being not saccharine like My Bloody Valentine. It's still nauseating like that band, but without like pop hooks. It's very melodically driven, and it does it while still being abstract, which is it kind of ties it a little bit more to black metal. And I have gone off on bands that rely on vibe many times. And this is a vibe record, but it's a very successful one. It kind of opens up its own universe from the start of the record, and it continues with the the vibe of the record. The feel of it is consistent, but each chapter present in the songs is necessary. And the way the facets of the music work, there's some EDM stuff going on. There's some breakcore, and I know that uh, when I'm explaining that kind of stuff to you, you're going to think it's kind of like gimmick laden, and this doesn't come across that way. A lot of bands that do the cheap parlor trick of let's have a flute here and there, uh, that that is definitely gimmickry. But this, everything kind of comes together in an organic way where uh, everything seems vital, and the direction of it is done such where it's a great headphone record. If you want to listen to it, definitely do it that way, because the direction of it, the artist wants you to hear only what he wants you to hear, and when things kind of bubble up in the mix, it feels very deliberate. There's a lot more of control in a project like this than what you would find in your meat and potatoes metal band. There's a lot more facets to this, a lot more that is presented. And I do, my gripe with it is I do come away from it not knowing what the album is saying. And that is a gripe I have with a lot of modern bands because they are so style driven that they know what to mimic to create something and to get people to have their heads turned. But this, despite it not having concrete reasoning behind what you're hearing, uh, it still presents something that is kind of holistic in that uh, it feels like a real artistic statement. It's not a clear one, but it feels like it's its own thing. And uh, even though there's a lot of different borrowings from genres going on, it doesn't come across like a collage, but more like a mosaic, where if you pan out, you see the entire image and all of the pieces matter to make it happen. I found it very engaging, and for every song transition, it feels more like a movie where now a new character has walked into the frame and there's a new theme being presented, or it's the same character but a different take on that character. And the entire record is seamless. It it doesn't have any space between songs, but it flows very naturally, and the the emotions that it conjures when the songs change really do tell a story in a very cool way. And like I said, I'm having a hard time piecing that together, but there is a story there, and a lot of it is developed through like drony soundscapes and bending in and out of pitch. Uh, a lot of it does have like a sludgy vibe that where the actual guitar parts are drawn out long enough that when they do a chromatic shift up or down, because there's so much space in between, you really feel that urgency, and in a lot of times you feel the nauseating pull of things that are going out of tune against a backdrop of a very consonant melodic run. Like there's elements where I don't want to say operatic, but very ethereal female vocals are being utilized while a churning sludge guitar is happening, and the dichotomy isn't gimmick feeling like Igor. It's more like it wants to create an atmosphere that is suffocating, and you have the consonants on the top, but it's just like a frosting layer over this hellish underworld. I thought it was really cool, and uh, I sat through the whole thing kind of on the edge of my seat, just wondering where it was going to go. It does kind of outstay its welcome a little bit, I would say, in the second to last track, and it kind of peters out at the end. You don't have a grandiose kind of climax to it, but that's okay because a lot of what makes the songs and the statement of the record stand out is how it undulates in place, but does so by forcing you to hear the layers that it wants to. And instead of just throwing everything at the wall at once, it adds and subtracts in ways where it knows how to manipulate you, and it knows what story to tell in doing so. It's very very effective and done with a very strong artistic command. And I attempted something like this many years ago, didn't go anywhere with it, but this is like the fruition of kind of an idea I had, but done with a much more, uh, a much steadier hand. And I am fucking jealous after hearing this. I never, and I love that. I love that I can hear music that makes me jealous. I never hear any metal anymore, Death Black or whatever standard genres of metal. I never hear any of that where I come away from it feeling jealous. This one I did. I was like, this is a piece of art that I wish I could have made, and I love that. That makes me feel really inspired. But yeah, I definitely recommend this. This is a very strong artistic statement. It feels very deliberate, and because I couldn't piece it together, I want to keep coming back to it. A lot of a lot of records now I can't piece together because there's nothing to piece together. This there's a lot of parts, and I'm just having a little trouble with the puzzle. But it's a kind of trouble that I'm loving being in the middle of. So yeah, check it out. I don't hear much about the project. The guy behind it has a million projects, and I'm glad I stumbled upon this. I haven't thought about Evangelist in many years. So if he's got this kind of command over all the other stuff he's doing, I'm going to have a pretty busy weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for listening.